Today, value session. I'm blessed to be speaking with Tyler Ennis and Damon Tate, both vocalists in A Virtue. Is that correct? Co-vocalists? How do you guys like to define yourselves?
I like co-vocalist is nice.
Damon's like, no,
I
it's my
guess
job.
no. Well, I just look at it like Tyler's the lead vocalist. I play guitar as well too, so it's like I look at myself as it's a vocalist and a guitar. I call Tyler the lead vocals. Now, when we send out the text sheets, we have to put lead vocal on both sides because otherwise,
They
some
like
things
to,
can.
yeah, they like to turn Damon down.
Sometimes some things they used to get messed up, but we have front of house now, so thankfully we don't have this issue. But before, it'd be like backing vocalist, we're gonna put you just. And I'm like, no, there's a lot going on here, so.
I need more vocals in the mix.
Yep.
Yeah, I need some more respect in the mix, please. Thank you.
Yeah, right. I think we all do. Self-respect too, which we'll talk about. So Michigan medical outfit of Virtue signed to a rising empire, coming off the release of your latest single, What It's Like to Be Happy, which coincidentally was kind of in recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month. You have picked two of our 13 values today, Virtue and Vigor. Let's talk about this song, man. We were getting like so deep into it before we even hit record. I love the vibe. Who wrote the song? Who wrote the lyrics? Is it a combination? Did you guys do it together, individually? Tell me a bit about how this song came to be.
This is it's a combination song. So we had the fortune once we got back from I want to say we did a short run last year, did a hometown show, went down to Welcome to Rockville for the first time, and we had come off a pretty sick European tour. So just the vibes and everything were going really well. And we had a moment where not only we could get all four of us into the studio at once, but some friends of ours that we work with on past records, we all had the opportunity to be together, actually vibe off of each other in the room because, for a while, like first starting off, it would just be like me and, Tyler or one other person just working on things. COVID allowed us to kind of expand what we do as far as songwriting because nobody could really do anything. So we would just send out ideas to friends and, talking got this train rolling of like, hey, what if we introduce some other people that we've wanted to, be creative with into the process? We, kind of found our, team. And from there, it's like sometimes we would do one person would go to the other. It would just be a couple of us at a time. But this felt good where it's like, hey, all of us are here. We can all vibe off of each other, have fun. Everybody's got an instrument up going on, laughs. And when this song kind of came about, we're all just joking around. Like, sometimes the songwriting process can get a little heavy because you're like, man, what should we talk about? What should, I don't want to say you kind of put yourself in like a weird headspace, but it's like sometimes you just think about heavy topics or you think about like, oh, is this going to change this or do I want to go this deep right now? And with What's It Like to Be Happy, like it was more of just a poignant question of like we we were kind of joking around of like having a bad day. Like the song actually is from the point of view of somebody that is just going through it. Like you wake up and the pillow wasn't cold when you slept. When you got out of bed, you might have stepped wrong and hurt your ankle. You go up to the milk is spoiled. You go out into the world, car won't start. Job sucks. And it's just like, you're just kind of harboring all of this energy. And it's like, instead of being like, oh, everything's going to be all right. It's like, so sometimes there's an old adage called misery loves company.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see people having a good day, when you see people that on its face are just going about their business and they seem unbothered and they don't notice what's going on with you because they have what's going on in their life, it's like, well, why can't I be like that? Why can't I understand? That was the surface level. We were just joking around about that. And it's like, but at the same time, it was a moment because all of us could look around in the room and go, I've definitely felt like that. I've definitely felt like, hey, if I can't be happy, nobody else can be because I don't know what that truly means. And then when we started talking about it more, that's where it kind of starts to cut a little bit of, man, there's some underlying issues that I have going on that it's hard for me to actually express and truly feel this. Tyler can speak for himself, but it's like, it started to sink in a little bit more, and that was kind of like the process for it. It was just organic. It was actually born more out of a fun moment, but the fact
Mhm.
that all of us were there and could connect on something that is a little sardonic, is a little cheeky, but at the end of the day, really is kind of like this grand question in a way, because we're all searching for happiness in some way, shape, or form, and we might not know what it is. And sometimes we trick ourselves into thinking we know what it is and start chasing the wrong things, to try to get it.
Yeah, I love what you said there. And the irony is, and Tyler, I'm going to pass it over to you in a second. Um, it's all communication, right? Like, even in that example, you guys just threw out this idea as a joke almost, but then when you started to communicate and started to broach the subject more, you realized that there was more to it. It's funny because when you start to explain, the bad day idea, it was almost like the antithesis to Ice Cube's "Today Was a Good Day," where it's the opposite. It was like everything is good. But
Yes.
as much as that
Yes.
song is positive, if you look at the lyrics, what he's actually doing so intelligently is showing like the trials and tribulations that a lot of people are going through from that perspective. It's like today was a good day, but most of the time it's like this. And I think with mental wellness, and I don't like to say health because I think that this is a wellness thing. We have to trick ourselves into constantly being positive about it. That it just takes that conversation to start. And then once you put it out there, it becomes less taboo, less scary. And then you immediately identify in others like, oh, wait, hold on. You're feeling that too? I'm from Tyler. You're feeling that? Damon, you're feeling that? Okay, like what's here? What's deeper? And how can we go further down? Tyler, why don't you give us your perspective?
Yeah. So everything that Damon just talked about is, something that I have dealt with most of my adult life. It's been like one of those things where you you don't really realize like how far, deep into like just that depressive state, or, even just that mental state of like you don't realize how far, you've fallen until you get to a low point, right? And then you start looking at things, start looking at patterns, start looking at habits. And that's where that question comes up. Like, with what's it like to be happy? Yeah, it was like kind of like a tongue in cheek, but also kind of like a fun thing. Just like, man, yeah, what is it like to be happy? And, my band's seen me at my worst. My band has seen me at my best. And, I think it's one of those things where we can all agree. I don't think we ever want to see me at that point again. And I don't think I could ever go back to that point. No matter what I go through, I've learned throughout this whole process of writing that song and everything that I went through last year. Um, just with my mom, you know, getting diagnosed with Alzheimer's, my dad going through a lot of very bad health issues that still are, coming up to this day. Went through a breakup, somebody that I thought I was going to have a future with, like there's all these life changes that are going on. And then on top of that, you're just like, you have all this weight on you, and you're in the studio and you're like, how can I portray how I'm feeling and connect with people? Because that's what our band has always been. Ever even before I joined a Virtue, like a lot of our vocals, I will say, our like lyrics and everything to songs, connected with people very deeply, especially, live shows. People like growing up in the same area, growing up in the music scene together. I got to see like the many different versions of Virtue. And it's really awesome that we get to have this version with me now.
Mhm.
And just have it be even more authentic and even more just transparent and real, and like we're talking about these things. We're making people feel connected to the songs, not just by writing the songs, but because music is always up to interpretation, right? But then when
Yeah.
you get that moment to actually talk about the song, the amount of people that reach out to you. I mean, I have so many messages that I still haven't even read yet after we posted about this song. Um, and it's just because people felt connected to that, and they saw the vulnerability and were like, that I love that. And you don't have to like the song like that. It's totally okay. I understand the song itself people might consider it to be, just very mainstream, just very, the lyrics are just whatever. Like, I've seen comments obviously like, oh, lyrics could be better and stuff. It's like, yeah, but this is a song that's supposed to be direct. It's supposed to be like, this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
You don't need metaphors sometimes. All you need is that straight, like, I woke up feeling miserable. Here you go. Every day's the same. Like, it's simple. Like, you don't need to beat around the bush. So to be able to connect with people in this song and to tell my story and to tell how I've been feeling, this was all of us. Like, this was everything that we have all felt, even our producers. Um, so being able to write that, but kind of have it, attach my own story to it and just be able to talk about it. And when we recorded it and we're putting the lyrics together, writing those things and coming up with like exactly how you're feeling. Like the one of the first lines after we came up with what's it like to be happy is, um, what's wrong with me? I woke up without a taste of dopamine because I have very, very bad ADHD, and I feel like my dopamine is always overloaded. And it's such like a catchy thing, but it's like a real thing that people go through every single day.
Yeah.
And that is where this song kind of just, I think, shines, is because we talk about what people go through every single day, and that it doesn't need to be any deeper than that.
I love that. I say very often that your truth is your art, right? So who cares what other people think? If that is how you felt in that moment and that's what you want to get off your chest in order for you to heal and speak outwards about your feelings, then that's great because it's real and then nothing else matters. I'm going to come back to you with a question about happiness because I do love that opening line. It's what hooked me into the song. Damon, you guys picked virtue and vigor as the two, values that you want to highlight. Virtue being commitment to excellence and ethical standards, vigor being persistence in the face of challenges. Why did you pick those two? What do they mean to you? Do they tie into this song, the band? Give me some details.
Virtue, seemed like a pretty easy one. The name itself, I mean, of Virtue, it came about. I was at a pretty low point in my life when the band started. And in some ways, when I was looking in the mirror, when I was looking around me at the people that I had around me, it was not a representation of who I thought I was, maybe who I lost along the way or who I could be. And in essence, it just, that name to me, it's striving to be the best version of yourself. And the reason we chose Vigor is because as you're going through those steps, whatever they are, for some it could be, sobriety. For some people, it could be therapy. For others, it's communication, it's physical exercise, it's just anything that improves what's going on around you, what's going to draw the people that you want, the energy that you need to succeed into your life. You're going to go through challenges. You're going to meet, individuals that may not be on the same wavelength as you. And you have to learn, hey, I love you and I appreciate you, but we're on different paths. So right
Yeah.
now, our energy can't cross. Or you're going to be tested by things that you gave up in order to try to achieve this other thing. They're going to come back and tempt you. And you have to put that to the side and be like, okay, And then life's going to happen. Like you said, it's, you know, there's loss, there are setbacks, there's relapsing, there's so many obstacles that can come along the way and are going to come. And you want to do the best that you can to prepare yourself for those. And in some ways, mentally, it's hard to even do that until it happens. But if you do have, kind of like what I was saying, like off camera, it's like things can happen to you and you can have the system in place to where when it does happen, it's not going to make it suck any less, but you'll have people there that can comfort you, that can offer you support, that can offer you a place to grieve, that can offer you strength, that could show you, hey, maybe what's going on is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. It's just simply what needs to happen right now for you to get to that next spot. And you have to get through this. There's no other choice because, you know, Tyler and I have talked about this. I've talked about this ad nauseum with other people too. It's like the one thing that held me back in the beginning, and honestly, kind of throughout my whole life, was like the concept of failure, right? When people think about failing, they only think about the negative aspect of you didn't accomplish something. There's a treetop, there's an ultimate goal, there's an apex. And to get to those points, it's hard. You have to fail because it shows that whatever approach that you have, while the intent and the spirit can be correct, the actual execution is not correct. So that means you're going to take the same mindset, but with a different drawing board, and you're going to keep going. You're going to keep trying, and life is never ending. You know, no one's perfect, man.
Yeah.
And you know, to tie both of them together, it's at least the message board, the basic foundation and message board for this band is always going to be and always been, hey, we're going to fail. We're not perfect. We're going to, you know, excuse my language, we're going to fuck up just like everybody else. We're going to make mistakes. But the intention and the will and the want to be better is going to get there. And we're going to show people this is where we failed. This is where we succeeded. Maybe you can do something that we can't. Maybe you can show us something that maybe we didn't know that we had in ourselves, or we can point the mirror out to the world. So
yeah, I really like that. It reminds me of a video I saw within the last couple of days, and also my business partner and I, Lance, say to each other all the time, we're also really good friends. Fail hard, fail fast. You know, the more you get comfortable with failure, the more you just lean into it, the faster you're going to get to where you're supposed to be. And most of the time where you get to where you're supposed to be, or when you get there, you realize, man, I got so many more places I got to get to. It's not just like the final destination, it's a destination. This video that I saw was a comedian, I can't remember his name, and he was talking about the journey and how we build our character. And this is a poor translation of it, but he was talking about this, you know, ripped dude, this big dude, and he's so confident. And he said he's not confident because he's got the abs. He's got confident because he put in all the work to get there, and he knows how to build that mindset or the tenacity to get to the final result. Sure, maybe there's cockiness and ego and whatnot, but like, it's doing the work that gets you to the result. And that's what matters, is the journey, not the destination, right? Tyler, I think we should end with you. You guys both get to. This is going to be the easiest or hardest one. So for you, given everything that you just talked about and what you've been through, and personal struggles, familial struggles, I'm sure the band helps, you know, the camaraderie of the guys helps a lot too. But in your mind now, what is it like to be happy? What does it take for you?
Ooh, yeah. You know, I feel like that's a question that I will always chase. And the reason why I say that is I'm a big sports guy. And man, what a tragedy last night, by the way. Just insane. But
that wasn't a tragedy. That was the greatest. That was the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Dude, insane. That was crazy. But the reason why I bring that up is because Victor went and did he trained with monks for I think like 4 months, right? And that is I remember seeing one of the quotes that, one of the things that he learned, and it was like, I'm not searching for happiness. I'm searching for peace. So chasing the question of what's it like to be happy, or what does it mean to be happy, or for happiness, it's something that I think is actually, it's a good thing that it's not something that I think I will ever achieve. It's just something that I will always chase, because being able to kind of take a step back after everything, and after talking with Damon, with Mike, with Ryan, my family, my friends, and even in therapy too, being able to talk about the things that kind of like trigger those moments where you're in such a low point, and like, how do you get out of it? How do you get out of that mental state? So being able to kind of have a different perspective, and also just like stand outside of yourself, like get out of your own way for maybe a day, you know, like waking up and doing something different is something that I have learned helps me out tremendously. Um, I feel like, in a way, even though I don't have a routine or I don't have a structure, I was doing the same exact thing every single morning. So to me, I was asking myself, like, what is it about this situation, this environment, that I'm in such a, like, I wake up and I feel empty. I feel like I didn't get enough sleep. I feel I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do this. Um, I've had to take that thought of I don't want to do this, and just, there's no choice, because when you have responsibilities, when you have things that you have to wake up and do, you have businesses, you had to get out of your own way. I'm sure in the past, especially because it's not just you have a partner, you said, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same exact thing with relationships. It's the same exact thing with, um, us in a band. Like, we are all in a relationship with each other. Like, if I am not doing what I need to do to better myself, if I'm not doing, what I need to do to take care of, responsibilities with the band, we're not going to go anywhere. Damon can sit there and do everything that he needs to do. But if I'm not holding up my end of the bargain, I'm letting not only him down, not just myself, I'm letting everybody down. I'm letting every single person that is involved with our band down. And that includes our families, because they've invested time, they've invested everything into this. And I've had to remind myself, and it's something that I've thought about actually quite a lot probably in the past 6 months, of just like changing my life around. Um, I remember when I sat down with Damon, Mike, and our bassist at the time, when they asked me to join the band. And the one question that Damon asked me is, we want you to be in the band, but are you all in? Because if you're not all in, we don't need another person that's half in, half out.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I answered yes. And are there times where I feel like I've been half in, half out? Absolutely. Because I've been so wrapped up in my head of everything else that I neglected my responsibilities to, um, to my friends. Like, I don't even want to just say my band, to my friends. We are all invested in this. So me changing my life around, I actually just weighed myself today. I'm officially down 40 pounds, which is, it's an insane thing for me to think about, because even though it's taking me longer than what I would like, um, I'm doing it the healthy way. I'm working out. I'm eating better. I'm building better habits, and I feel like I can actually have a full conversation with somebody and not be distracted, and not feel like I have to do something, or I have to um, be somebody that I'm not. The one thing that you said before we started recording is just like, authenticity is one of the greatest things that you can give anybody,
Yeah.
because there's so many people out there. We don't need another version of, you. We don't need another version of Damon. We need everybody to be themselves. And I feel like I neglected that for a long time because I was so wrapped up in a lot of things. And for me, being able to wake up and be proud of, the music that we've created, be proud of the progress that I have made, the progress that honestly all of us have made. I mean, and it's no easy feat for Damon. Like in November, it'll be 19 years sober. Like that right there is
Wow.
insane. Such a change, such a turnaround, and to be able to be here talking with all of us, like that took a lot of work, and it's so awesome that, like, I think I have the coolest friends. I have the best friends because they care, they have put the work in themselves and have grown individually, but also in a way, like, I feel like we are a lot closer than we all used to be because we started to talk about our feelings. We started to talk about our experiences, and throughout the shame, throughout the embarrassment, because if you truly care about somebody and love somebody, you're not gonna judge them. Sure, there might be that shock factor of certain things, right? I'm sure we've all had that. You're just like, wow, okay, yeah, that's a lot. But once you process it, then you're able to actually sit there and give advice or be there in the way that you need to be. And the only way that anybody that loves you can help you is if you allow them to. And that
Yeah.
is the number one thing that I learned. And that's what I'm going to leave off with is, like, if you start talking about the things that you're going through, the weight on your shoulders is going to be so much lighter because your friends and the people that love you will help, take that weight off just by talking about it.
I love so much of what you said there, and I'm excited for us to have this like full deep dive on the Heart Dealer podcast for like an hour plus because I can see Damon's like, okay, I got so much I want to say, and I'll
Yeah.
let you have this last word, Damon. Don't worry, but like Tyler, what you just said there is so key because there is unconditional love. That's important. It's not just from others, but it's of yourself too. And I've been using this metaphor recently where if you want to rise, much like hot air, you got to lighten, you got to get rid of the baggage, you got to lighten the load. So the more you can let go of things, the more you can find peace, the more you will rise up. And it sounds like you've been on that journey for a while and you've been doing so many different things, not necessarily about focusing on what is it to be happy, just the pursuit of trying different things, using different tools, communicating, relying on your team, the differentiating your routine, right? So good for you for doing all those things. Damon,
Thank you,
why don't
man.
you send us home, man? What I heard this 19 years sober. That's crazy too. What is happiness for you? What's your quick take on the journey?
Um, Probably the quick thing is like kind of what you both have talked about. Happiness along the way is finding it's to me it's finding the things that fulfill you. Um, it's not a place. It's not a. It can be found in tangible things, but it's just to me if I can, you know, have a life where hey, I wake up. There's people that care about me. There's people I care about. There's something that I'm working for that is greater than myself that can put that same love, positivity, and the same tools for other people to help find those out into the world for me to be involved with, be able to pay my bills and, otherwise, I guess, just live a good life, live a good, honest life. To me, that's a version of happiness, or at least it's a pathway to that because, you know, as my, it's a kind of a weird thing to think about, but it's like even happiness, man, is like you can't take that with you when you leave this place. But what you can do is you can at least leave the tools and the things that put you on that path behind so that somebody can pick them up and use them the same way that you did. So,
Hell yeah. I love that. I really appreciate your time, guys. For me, just to sign off, happiness equals peace and peace equals happiness. And it's the balance between the two that we're always looking for. And man, sometimes our worlds get rocked. But if you can learn to find peace in those horrible moments, then you can find happiness, kind of anywhere.